So guys, we'll start. Hope you can see my screen. Can you see? Okay. Okay. So today we'll get into version control systems, or you call it as a source control management system, whatever it is. I'll be using it whatever I'm comfortable with, because it will keep changing. Okay. So we will be using Visual Studio 2019, which is the latest version IDE for the .NET. Okay, because if you use the latest, you will have all the available plugins. Built into your system actually. Don't use our old, because people are now even quickly moving around, right? We are not sticking around the older things actually. So I'll be using Visual Studio 2019 to use the sample projects that we'll be using in the upcoming sessions as well. So today it will be Azure Repos. After a few days it will be Azure Pipelines, where you will configure Azure builds and releases. That means automated builds and deployments. And the other name is continuous integration and continuous deployment. Whatever is the word, we are doing the CI/CD for a given .NET application in this one. And the process will be same even for the other programming languages as well. Okay, only few things will be changing, like the configuration changes, etc. Basically, if you already know it, you can do it. If you don't know it, you have to ask a developer. Okay, that's how it goes actually. Okay, now today it is Azure Repos. Basically, we will be using Git repository built inside Azure DevOps. You can use external Git as well. That means it need not be on the Azure cloud. It can be on the public GitHub, where you can go and buy, or you can go and create your free version or a free trial basically, and you can keep your code. Let us say nowadays, if you see, right, many of the developers, freelance developers, are people are contributing the open source projects, right? They keep their work on the GitHub. Okay, the documentation, or any some samples. Earlier it used to be on their blogs, or it used to be on their YouTube channels somewhere else, right? Now everybody is keeping their sample works or documentation, what they worked on the GitHub. The reason, if you go to, I've been getting these questions. Do you create any blogs, or do you maintain any, do you have a GitHub account? Because they wanted to see my work actually. Because if it is on the GitHub or somewhere, it is a public and many people can see it, and they will be giving the comments, right? The recruiter will be having, the less headache in identifying the person is genuine or not. Okay, that's a trend is going on. Of course, even I don't have a GitHub account. That's a different story. People tell it actually, but I keep my videos, my old session videos on the YouTube as well. Okay, so that's the advantage I take it from some of my sessions. Okay, I suggest you guys as well, right? Be it a silly or something, right? Go ahead and create some GitHub account, push your some documentation. It can be any documentation. Do it like this, you will get a more visibility. This is apart from this session I'm just telling. Okay, okay, coming back to the session. So we talked about two types of version controls, right? One is a distributed version controlling system. Another one is a centralized version controlling system. The oldest one is the centralized version control system. And since that is the oldest, the terminology that is being introduced by that centralized version controlling system still in use. Okay, so you can call it as a generic words actually nowadays. So those commands are, check in, check out, commit, check in, check out, very oldest. Whether you are using Git or whether you are using TFS, or everyone uses these commands, check in, check out, because we used to those things actually. But these check in and check out are not the commands or the terminology that use in a distributed version control system, that is in Git based actually. Okay, and then commit, it's again standard word. So you will be knowing, branches, like, so because you will have the different environments, right? So we'll be creating different branches, like, dev environment, QA environment, UAT environment. So you call them as a branches. It is nothing but your folders and your file system. Okay, basically you name like this, right? Project 1, project 2, or etc. In the same way you call it as a branches in the version control management system. And then we will also see version control policies, means who needs access to what, and what he can do. Let us say if he is an administrator, he can do delete, create, update. If he is a developer, just contribute, cannot create repository. Those kind of version control policies we can see. And then merging means, in a project multiple developers will be working on, right? And on the same branch actually. So today I might have created some 10 lines of code on the same file. The other day some other person might created some another 15 lines of code. Maybe my 10 lines and his 15 lines might be having some conflicts, means I updated some line 13, and the other person also updated the same line 13 and the same code file. That means there is a conflict. So we need to do the merge, and we need to select which one is the correct one. I mean, it's not the correct, whose change need to be taken. So these kind of things are called merging. We will see how to resolve the merge conflicts. And then cloning is nothing but, let us say you have your code uh, on the remote repository, means on some server. You need to first take it to your laptop, right? So that process, the downloading is nothing but a cloning actually. So you call it as a clone. And then local repository, if it is on your laptop, it is a local repository. If it is on the server, it is a remote repository. That is as simple as that. And then we talked about it. Staging changes. This is staging is again a command. Basically, if you are a Linux, I mean, if the persons are from Linux or some other operating system, they like to do all these things from the command prompt. Okay, of course everybody has their own habit. If you are from the Microsoft technologies or Microsoft background, you like to do it from the tool or the browser, from a tool, right? Or if you are from the tools background, so you will like to do that one. So since we will be using Visual Studio, we will be using all these commands from the Visual Studio itself. Okay, but if you want to do it from the Linux prompt or something, you can, of course, very well can go ahead and do it. Or if you want to do the same things from your PowerShell command also, you can do it from the PowerShell utility that is available on your laptop. These are all various ways, but end of the day, the productivity is important. Okay, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are and how intelligent I am. If I am doing it slowly, it doesn't make any sense actually. So I am having the tools to do it more quickly, so that's why I will be using my Visual Studio tool to do all these changes. Okay, so staging changes is nothing but, let us say I updated 3-4 files, but I want to push only 2 files to the remote river. So I will stage them actually. So I will show all those things. Okay, I'm just giving some high level glance, so that when we are using it in the real time and the projects, you will get more clarity. Prune is nothing but, let us say it's a kind of I would say cleanup. The way you, let us say, when you delete something from your laptop or something, it will go to recycle bin, right? Until unless you do a permanent delete. So many times you do delete, or sometimes you do permanent delete. If you don't do permanent delete, it will go to recycle and you can restore it. In the same way, prune is nothing but, this is not exactly same. Okay, I have my repositories on the server, and I have the same repository on my local laptop as well. This is local. Sometimes I may delete it on the server, but I don't delete it from my local. Okay, so it makes a lot of confusion, and as well as sometimes accidentally as well, you may again push your local code to the remote actually. So that cases, to clean up your stuff both on the server and as well as your local, you can use stuff like prune. Okay, and then lock is nothing but, okay, let us say you're done with your coding, you given releases to the production, and you don't want anyone to make any changes to that repository, that code base, then you can go ahead and apply lock actually. And then push is nothing but you develop some code from your laptop from the Visual Studio, and you need to keep that code in the server. That's where you use the push command. Okay. And then fetch, there is a small difference between push and fetch. Both are same, but there is a small difference. We will show it when I'm explaining it. Right now you don't understand. Okay. When I say fetch also, I will get the data from the server, but there is a small difference. Okay. Pull, pull is nothing but uh, pulling the data. Fetch or pull are same. Sorry, not push and fetch. Fetch or pull actually, the names. And then sync. Okay, if you have to get the code from remote and then push your code back to the remote, right? Then you are using two commands, or you are doing two activities in sequence. If you don't want to do those activities in sequence, you can simply apply sync command. So in the background, it will do both the commands actually. And then change sets is nothing but, every time you commit some code to the repository, everything is associated with some ID. Okay, that ID is nothing but change set actually. This is nothing but your employee ID or whatever it is. In the similar way, every code that is checked into your server is having some ID. That is called change set. Tags are nothing but your general tags, where you use in Twitter or Facebook to tag, right? You can query the things based on the tags. The same way here you have tags. Tags is unleashed bother thing actually. And then get latest, we are having the pull here, right? Pull is nothing but it pull the code from the remote repository. Get latest, okay, I given different color coding here. So the green is the uh, uh, terminology that we use it for the oldest or the legacy, would say, centralized version controlling system. And light blue is the latest, I mean, distributed version controlling system terminology. And the maroon, I mean, this, what do you call this, maroon, right? No, not maroon. What this color is? Okay, some color is there. That color is common for both the things, branches or merging, chain sets, locks, tracks. These are the common terminology between both of them. And then pull requests, this is a very important thing when you're using any version, I mean, distributed version controlling system. This is nothing but the code reviews that happens actually. So if you're using traditional way of development, you basically write some code as a developer, and then you ask your team lead or someone to review your code, right? Either they come to your desk and review it, or you use some tool to send changes to him and then he will review. The other way is you email the code to them and then he will review and then he will say yes sir, okay. But the problem here, you do not have any tracking. What you asked, what that person done, what review comments is given, whether you fixed it or not, all those things are not available. So in distributed version controlling system, pull request is the de facto standard to do the code reviews. Okay, we will talk about it. Pull request is very general, you should be knowing that. Okay. And then stash, we will talk about stash. There will be some scenarios you need to stash your code. That means, I'll give some high level example. You are working on some you are working in some sprint tool, and suddenly you might be required to work on some bug fix. You have the code. If you do that bug fix and write, what happens, whatever the code you've been doing for some requirement, that will also go actually. Then what happens, you don't want to release it, right? That is not being tested. You just need to give the bug fix on it, not the code that you are doing it currently, which is not tested by developers. So that times you need to take that code out and then give the bug fix on it. But it's not easy, right? If you write your code, 100 files, at more than 10 files, what happens? You have to take a backups of each file and then delete that from your project and give only bug fix. This is, very cumbersome basically. So for those scenarios, you have this commands actually. So we will be addressing all those commands as part of this Azure repos. So first, to apply those commands, first we need to have some repositories on the server, and then you have some code to be available from your IDE or in your laptop, right? Okay. So what we do first, we'll go and so there are multiple scenarios to create your repos as well. Either you create a repo on the server and connect to that repo from your laptop or the Visual Studio. The other way is you can directly create a repo from the Visual Studio and then make it available on the server. These are multiple options. Okay. First, we will go in a very traditional way. First, we will go to the portal, create a repo, and use that and connect that repo to my Visual Studio. Let's go back. So the first thing is I have my Visual Studio. So by now you already have a Azure DevOps account. Okay, so I'll be using that one. So when you are using Visual Studio, right? The moment you open this, you will get this pop-up. I just want to create a new project. Click on the new project. So we have both versions, ASP.NET Core and ASP.NET Legacy. So I will use ASP.NET Core in the later sessions when I am explaining the Docker concepts. And in the initial sessions, we'll be using the legacy ASP.NET MVC. Of course, it's not a legacy. Everybody is using that one only. But the new standard has come. People are calling it as a legacy. So I'll be using ASP.NET MVC, the traditional framework. That way you cover both actually. There is no difference the way DevOps engineer work, but the type of files that will be created when you create a new project are little different. But they are in terms of only configuration files, not in terms of .cs files. Okay, let's go ahead and create a traditional ASP.NET web application. I selected this one. Okay, and then ASP.NET Web Application Framework C#, and then I'm going to select an MVC project. Sorry, this is a Linux. Let's say Windows. Let's search for it. There are many things here. ASP.NET Web Application. You see, this is a core. The first one is ASP.NET Core Web Application, and I take ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. But I want to take C#. You see the C# here, and then click next. I'll just give MVC app 8 AM demo. You can give anything. This is just for a demonstration purpose. And on my local, I'm keeping in this path C: users Punuchal. This is the default one. Anyone will get it. I'll just keep it as it is. And then I leave this solution. And we will talk about, if you are new to .NET, I will just give some basics about .NET project as well, how it looks like, not the coding actually. Okay. Just click on create. So now I will get a what template I want to use. I want to use a MVC template. This is basically for a web application purpose. Okay, and I can include some API projects as well. I'm not including as of now. We will do it in the future. I don't want to use a Dockers, and I don't want to configure HTTPS, and I just want to have some unit test cases project created automatically for this sample application. So I just check this checkbox and then create. So don't worry, because there are different type of audience who don't know the .NET as well. So, but you don't need to know the coding, but you need to know the solution, the projects, what are the different configuration files available, and then how you run it and how you take that. What is the output of that compilation? Okay. It takes a minute. Let it take. Okay. So if you see, right, so in .NET, right, you have two things that you need to understand. The term called solution and then the project. Solution is I would say this is uh, the master folder, and then projects are nothing but subfolders. So this is a solution. Okay, the first one is a solution. You can see my solution name is MVC app 8am demo. This is the project name I given. If I give a different solution name in the text box, it gives a different name, but I did not give, so it taken the same thing. And my project name is MVC app 8am demo. This is one project, and I also instructed my wizard to create a unit test cases project as well. So this is another project. So MVC 8am demo dot tests. Okay, I have two projects in my solution, and you don't need to worry about all these different content here. Okay, this is about HTML and your code, etc. Don't worry about that. All you need to be careful about is your web.config and then packages.config. We don't get into these details now also, because we just starting creating a repositories. But end of the day, you need to know these things, because we will be working on this web config and packages config in the future. Okay, let's not worry about it now. Let's go and see our physical folder. Okay, you see a lot of files here, right, and folders. Let's go and see our physical. Right click on the solution and go to this option, open folder in File Explorer. So it will take me to this physical path. You see the same thing, whatever I have there is visible here, okay, in the folders. And this is your solution extension is .sln. Okay, and I have this project. Forget about .vs, because I created this project from the Visual Studio created .vs. This is a hidden file. Okay, don't worry about that. So let's open MVC app 8am demo. Whatever you see these folders is available here, and you can basically, guys, bear with me if you already know the .NET, and because there are few people don't know, that's why I'm explaining. You see the same folders here: app data, app start, content, controllers, and everything. Okay, and there is a bin. I mean, you don't see a bin folder here, and you see a bin folder in the physical path, because this is a dynamic one. When you create it, it will get created, and it should not be included in your project on the remote repository, because this is a dynamic, right? Every developer has their own version of bin, and the remote repository is of everyone. So you should not have your own version. Every code that is on the remote repository, which is on the local, should be same for every developer. So if you are having, like, let's say, when you compile it, it will contain some more temporary files, and it will contain this bin folders. When you are checking this code to remote, we will exclude all of them actually, all these temporary files, etc., and keep only the files that is being created by your Visual Studio or whatever you are creating on your own. I would simply say you are doing with your hands, that should be there on the server, and something is getting created dynamically by the system should be excluded. This is a, I mean, I would say a blind decision, I would say. And excluding those unwanted files on the server is a very simple process here. Earlier you need to go and know each and every file or path that you need to know, but in the latest versions of Visual Studio or the GitHub, etc., right, they give you the they create a file called .gitignore, and it includes all of them actually. You can go and check what files is being excluded in that Docker ignore file actually. Okay, I would say 5-6 years ago we used to create it manually, so which takes you need to be an expert actually, which is created by you and which is not created by you. And what we used to do, whatever we could see with our eyes in the hidden files, we used to exclude it, and sometimes we get into issues, but right now we don't get into issues. Okay, that's about some files and folders that are available in your Visual Studio. Let's go ahead and run it actually right now. If you see this MVC 8am demo and then bin, there are how many files? 13 items are there. Okay, when I compile this application, it will get increased. Okay, So for compilation, either you can run it. When you run it, basically it will run the application, but I don't want to run it. Just compilation is nothing but a build actually. So just click on build solution. Done. Build started. Build succeeded. 2 projects successfully built. 0 failed, and nothing is been skipped. Now let's go back to our bin folder. You see it's been increased. Earlier there were 13, now it is 26, because when I compile the application, my Visual Studio created some more artifacts that are required for the application to run. Okay, basically when I deploy my application, I don't deploy all my .cs files, etc. This is the code. These are the executables that are going to your servers, to your web server or to your app server. This is the one will be available on the server. Okay, you need to be worried about it, not the code what you written by the developer. Okay, so let's close it. That's about your Visual Studio, how to create a new project, etc. And then now let's go ahead and create a repository uh, on server. Okay, so for that, so we are using Azure DevOps. So let's go to, let me sign out from here. So today I will directly go to the Azure portal, I mean DevOps portal, rather than portal.azure.com. From there to Azure DevOps organization, right? So I will directly go there today. So the URL is dev.azure.com is the URL. Okay, and then go here and use the same user ID password that you used. And here you have this sign in. You have multiples. You can click on any button, and then this is the account I'm using, Sureka K86. Let's log in and sign in. Okay, our organization is Azure DevOps 8 AM. Okay, uh, this is a project and it doesn't have any demos, right? I'm just going to create one more project. Okay, because we worked something there, and we'll create another project and then push this code by creating a repository under that project. How do you create a project? You can go to the home and then click on the new project. I will give the same name. Basically, it's better to, otherwise we will forget what is this, what is that, and all. So I'll give the same name. Let's, yeah, I'll just copy it. Actually, we may. I prefer to do a copy paste rather than typing myself. So give the project name, the similar MVC ATM demo, and then I'm making it a private. Just open advanced, and I am going to use the Git version control because this is a distributed, and the work item process I'm going to use select Scrum actually. Just create. After this, we are not getting into the Azure boards. We'll go to the Azure repos and then create a new repository. So now my project is being created and everything looks empty here. No stats available. Only one member, that is the one who created this one. Now go to repos and then just click on it actually. So when I click on repos, directly it has come here. If I'm already having something on my repository, I can clone it. In Visual Studio, it will directly open Visual Studio and it will clone it. I'm not going to do that now. If you are using any, other than Windows, you can use this SSH or something. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use HTTPS. Means I want to connect to my repo from my Visual Studio using a URL. Okay, this is what I'm going to use. But you don't even need to copy this, because when you use credentials, right, it automatically populates all the things that are associated with your credentials. I will show you. First, let's create. Uh, Whenever we create a Azure DevOps projects, right, it automatically creates one team, right, the default team. In the same way, whenever you create a DevOps projects, it creates a repo as well. with the same name. Okay, if you want to create another repository, you can go ahead and create a new repository. For the timing, you can go to repos. Okay, you can go ahead and create a repos and everything, but I'm going to use this repo. Okay, if you want to create a new repo, you can do like this. Okay, let's use the default one because there is no difference. Okay, and you see something at the background. We were talking about the dot git ignore file, right? I can add a dot git ignore file as well. Right now it is selected as none. Okay, first I do not add it. That way, you will see what exactly is being copied to your remote repository, and then we will apply this none. Because first, let's do a mistake. So when you are doing some compilation or something, it will fail on the server. Then we will go and apply these things, and it will resolve those issues. So that way, your troubleshooting will also be completed. Okay, let's not use git ignore, but if you want to see, you see it will support many languages. See, I don't think even you heard of these languages. Okay, so we will be using a git ignore file. It supports many things. You name it. Even I don't know all of this. Not even all of. Not even 10%. I know. Let's say, I mean, you see, Visual Studio. Okay, let's not add it now. So what I'm going to do now, I open my Visual Studio. Okay, sorry guys, just give me a second. Let me arrange this. Okay, so on the top right hand side, right, you can sign into your Visual Studio as well. If you are using your Visual Studio from your office laptops, right, since you already connected to your AD, by default it gets connected to that one, or it will prompt you. Since I am using it now on my laptop, I connect to this Visual Studio with my Azure DevOps account, so that your authentication completes there itself. Let's click on sign in. So I use my Azure DevOps account to sign in. Okay, before click on sign in, I would like to show a few things. How do you identify if the project is in the version control or not? If you see this project, right, everything is just your folder system. There is no plus symbol or minus symbol next to your folder or file or any lock symbol. That means it is not in your version control system. Okay, if it is in the version control system, then you will see at least one symbol plus or minus or a lock. Okay, that's how you can identify it. There is nothing here beside my folders or beside my files. Let's go ahead and sign in. Okay, now I've been signed. Let's go and see, my account settings. So this is my account, that's it. Okay, let's leave it as it is. Now, if you want to add this, now you know that there is no plus, minus or lock symbol. You want to add it to the source control. There are multiple ways to add this account to your Azure DevOps remote repository. So since you already authenticated, and now you will have many options. One such thing is at the bottom of your Visual Studio, you have this add to source control option. Okay, you can use this, and you see, because I'm using it, it already populated Git actually. Guys, when you are using Visual Studio first time, if you get an error call, Git is not available, etc., you may get that error. What happens, it gives that URL as well. When you get that error, simply open that URL, install the Git, that's it. Don't do anything other than that. Now, that is one way. The other way is right click on the solution, and you have the same option here as well, add solution to source control. The same option, you can do it from there or here. Let's click on this add solution to source control. Okay, now you see you see a lock symbol here. That means this is being added, and don't think that this is available on the remote repository, because when I explained, if you are using distributed version control system, you have two phases. One, first, you will commit this code to your local repository, and then you can push it back to the remote repository. This is a two phases. You can do these two phases in one go or in two action items. Since I added this source control, I mean solution to source control, you may think that it's been added, but it's not added. Let's go and verify it actually. Let's go here and go to files. See, there is nothing here in my files. Just let me drag it down. Okay, there is nothing, right? Still I am seeing the same home page, means the code is not committed. So even the commit section, you see there is nothing. Everywhere you are seeing the same home page. That means my code is not still on the server. Okay, now let's minimize it. Okay, now if you, I mean, by mistake you close this one, right? Your source controller team explorer. We'll talk about team explorer. What is this? How you identify? You go to the view menu and then click on solution explorer. You will get it. And then now I have my solution explorer. Now I committed this code to my local repo, which is not visible to you basically. Now I commit this code to the remote repository on the server. How do you do it? Let's go ahead and right click and then okay, you do not see any option here, right, to commit your code. There is no option here. The reason, you logged into this you authenticated your Visual Studio to connect to your remote, I mean your Azure, I mean Azure DevOps or whatever it is. But it's still okay. There is a URL here. We've seen it, right? For this repo, this is the URL. The code has to be available at this URL. But I haven't connected my repository, right? How do I connect? So for that, right, you can go to view and then select Team Explorer. This is where you do all your operations. Right now, you see some changes, branches, etc. Since this is the first time you are doing, there won't be anything under changes. There is nothing here. Okay. And then if you want to go back, right, just click on home under Team Explorer. For the first day, right, first time what you can do, I mean, you see the branches as well. We will talk about branches, right? When you create a DevOps, Azure DevOps project, and then create, and automatically the repo is being created, but each repo will have multiple branches. By default, it creates a branch called master. You see this here. At the bottom as well, you can see. And when you click on branches also, you will see here. Now, let's go back. Now I want to connect my local repository with the server so that I can push my code actually. So here you have this plug symbol, manage connections. Click this. And then you already see an option, right? Hosted service providers, Azure DevOps actually. Okay. We are going to use Azure DevOps only. Just connect. Now you see the reason why I selected, why first I logged into my Visual Studio with my account, because it will populate here automatically. Otherwise, you can simply connect from here as well. Now, let's select this. And as soon as it is connected, right, it already populated my URL. dev.azure.com is a standard URL. Anyone will use the same URL. Just expand it. And the first one is my local laptop actually, just ignore it. And my dev.azure.com, with my account, I have two organizations. One is Azure DevOps and the other one is Sureka K86. We created Azure DevOps organization. Let's expand it. And in that we have three projects basically. And today we created a project called MVC 8 AM demo. Okay, this is a project we created. Okay, either you can select this or you can select it, it doesn't matter, it will automatically get selected. Okay, and this is the path on the remote, right? And my local path, see this, where it is going to be saved. Initially when I created a project, right, it was the same path, right? Repos, right? Okay, now it is going to create it is going to create that on the remote repository and download it back to the your local actually. For the time being, I am not going to do anything here, just leave it like this. Okay, you see this option clone. Actually, when I say clone, on the server you don't have anything actually. Okay, but there will be some configuration stuff, right? Some credentials or some metadata that is available on the server that gets downloaded to your local repo. So on the local, okay, I don't want to confuse you. Let's clone it to MVC app 8 AM demo 2 only. Actually, our project name is not 2 actually. It is only MVC 8 AM demo only. But let's not confuse, let it be, and I will show you how to change it later actually. Okay, let's clone it. When I did a clone, it's going to the server and getting all the configuration of my Azure DevOps project to my laptop. Let's sign in. So it's cloning the repository, the blank repository that I created, not created, that's been created default on the remote repository. Okay. Now you see there is the repository is being created, and you see a different thing here. This is not the one what you see in the Solution Explorer, right? And this is showing some path actually. So you need to change this view. Basically, this is a different view. This is a folder view, right? Let's, how you can do, you have options here, switch views. Okay, let's, you need to change this view basically first. It has to switch the view. Let me, yeah, let's click on this, no solution found. Okay, okay, the repository is cloned, right? But I haven't added, I mean, this is a new. Now it's downloaded with a new name, right? 8 AM demo 2. But actually our project is resetted at 8 AM demo. Okay, that's why it is saying the repository was cloned successfully. Create a new project or solution in this repository. Let's go to our one. This is my physical path, right? Go to repos, till repos. Now you see 8 AM demo. This is what created by us. Okay, and the other one is 8 AM demo 2, doesn't contain anything other than your metadata. Okay, the easiest way to add your solution to this is, let's go to your Solution Explorer back, and then click on home. If it doesn't open that solution, what I do is let's close this. We will get into some of those advanced concepts later. What I do, I'll select my 8 AM MVC demo solution from the pop-up. Now what I'm going to do, go to your Team Explorer. Okay, now click on sync. Okay, and then you will have a published Git repo. So I was telling about multiple options, right? We cloned it earlier. Now we are connecting our existing solution to the remote repository. Now this is Azure DevOps, the same thing we selected earlier as well. Now click on publish Git repo. We will talk about this later, the bottom one actually, publish Git repo. And now my account is being selected. Okay, my repository name is MVC 8 AM demo, and you can click advanced. and then you go ahead and what happens, there is a catch here. If you select if you don't expand your advanced, right, it will create a new thing on the server. If you expand it, you can select it actually to the existing. Right now I don't have anything on the server, that's why it is not showing anything in the drop down. Otherwise it will become a drop down actually. This repository test, right, it will become a drop down. Okay, now go ahead and click publish repository. So we will be doing multiple options in multiple sessions. So end of 5-6 sessions, you will know all the options. How many ways you can do. End of the day, what happens? Whatever is the option you are doing, the output will be same. The code will be available on the server. Okay. Now this was pushed actually, and you see you can directly click on this link. It will take you there. Or since I already opened it, you can simply go ahead and refresh. Did I send it to the same thing, right? Okay. I given a different. I clicked on the advanced, right, and I given the another name actually. So it created under MVC app 8am demo. It pushed my two projects. These are the projects what you see in your local actually. Okay, and if I see here, okay, it already added a Git, and this is a branch. In future we'll be creating the new branches as well. And go to repos again. This is a files. Just click on commit, just explore it. So add project files, because this is the first time, this is a comment I got it. And pushes, this is the first push I done. Branches, I have only one branch, that is master branch. And then tags, there are no tags we created. And then pull request, there are no pull requests. We haven't done any code reviews or merges, whatever it is. Now go here. Let's go back to your Visual Studio. Let's close this. And everything is on. Let's rebuild it actually. Today we will do one simple command. Okay, command means we don't do it from the command prompt. Okay, so build succeeded. Oh, it's running actually. I'm having a Docker running from my laptop, so it is taking time. Actually, I need to uninstall and then. Actually, otherwise it is 8 GB RAM. It should be very fast. Okay, let's go ahead and make some small change. Go to any code file. Of course, you will not be doing. So there is a page here. I'll just add my name. Okay. We can save it and then just click a right click on this file and then say commit. So it will open this one and just say test commit is the description, and I'm pushing it to master branch. So as I told you, there is a commit, push, sync, etc. Right? And if you use commit, it will not be available on the server. It is available only on your local. But I have other options as well: commit all and sync, commit all and push. For the time being, I would say only commit. I committed actually. Now, if I go back to my solution explorer here, you see this is being locked. That means I don't have any changes to be committed actually. Everything is committed. But if you go to your server here, okay, you can see all the files here as well. Okay, whatever is here. For which file I made change, it is in controllers and then home controller.cs. I'm still having my older version. You can see the history as well. There is no commit happened. Okay, but I committed to my local. Okay, Now what you do, go back here and then go to your Team Explorer, and then you can say click on changes. You say test. This time what I can do, sorry. There are multiple ways again you can do it. Okay. The easiest way is let's go back here, your Solution Explorer, and then simply apply. I'll just apply some space. Okay. And then right click and then commit. Rather than commit all, I would say commit all and push. Done actually. It's been completely uploaded to your remote repository. Instead of uploading, you will say checked in or pushed actually. Let's go back to my to see the history repos, and then expand your ATM demo and then controllers. You see there is a Purna space, and then if you go to history, right, click on history. First I added a Purna, right, test commit, and then I added space. I see both actually. Okay, there were I went to the changes and I tried to upload it, right. I was not able to do because those changes were basically staged. We were using different commands, right? Stage, stash. These are the advanced things actually. We were talking about. I made my changes, but I had to work on some bug, so I have to take these changes aside, and then if it is a traditional, you have to take a backup, create another folder, go on do it. Rather than doing in that way, use the commands actually. So this is the difference between your commit and push actually. This happens in your distributed version control system. If you use push, then it will be available on the repository. If you use only commit, then it is local. You have the commands, different commands here, commit all and push. That means you are committing to local and then pushing it to server. So this is how it works, and we will see the other commands, other options tomorrow as well, and probably, and then we will start some kind of a pull request as well. But I would advise if any one of you guys can connect to this repository, you give your email IDs to me. I will add you to this one because when I have to do the pull request, right, I have to work like a two different developers. If I have to work as a two different developers on the same laptop, I have to switch the user IDs, one account to other account. I may get confused, and you also get confused what's happening there actually. So instead, one of you guys, maybe online or you, right? You give your email IDs. I'll just give my email ID. You email. Then I will add you as a contributor to this project. I will simply ask you to make some change, and then you make it, and I will make some change. Then we will see all these options in action actually, how different people or multiple people work on the same repository and solve the merges and do the branching, etc., pull request. So all these things will be in the real time. Okay, I'll just give my email ID. So I will add you as a contributor to this repository. Okay. Yes, please send an email to this one with your. I don't think Gmail will work. Please give a Hotmail or can, can you send that to me? So please use your Hotmail or Windows Live or your company account if you have it actually. Gmail will not work, I guess. Okay. Please drop an email. I will make you as a contributor to this project. Thank you, guys. That's it for today. Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay, guys, if you don't have any questions, we will stop it for today and we'll talk to you tomorrow again. Thank you very much.